Hello. Um, Welcome to People with Valid Opinions. I'm Chase,
I'm Drake.
and we are without Ebby today, and it's just us chilling, like villains, and being all nefarious and vile, very devious of us.
Yeah.
It has been a hot minute. It has been a hot minute.
Yeah, it's been what, like 4 weeks or something?
Yeah, it's been a month. Our monthly podcast. Lots of news, lots of exciting things to talk about. I think, a month really does that.
hmm
How are you? How are you? What's been up in the Drake world? What's been up in
Um,
the Drake Society?
I mean, I just got back from a cross country road trip.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was just me and my
That's
brother, so it was actually really fun.
oh, that's base. Oh,
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
love.
but
Continue.
I was just gonna say, but nothing much has been
Yeah,
up. So,
yeah. No, like I totally want to do that, but like I mean, I probably will because touring musician and all that.
mhm.
Yeah, it's
So what's been up with you?
Uh, also not much. Just the grind, hustle on that hustle.
On the
Um,
afterlife grind.
on that afterlife grind. Yeah, I'm working on it. It is my birthday tomorrow. It is my womb leaving
Oh, that's
Remembrance
right.
Day.
Yeah.
The 19th anniversary of me leaving my mother's womb. Um, God, I wish we would call it Womb Leaving Day because birthday is such a lame name. It should be Womb Leaving Day because it is the day that you leave the womb, and it sounds so much more edgy and grim that way. Just my opinion,
And
of course, but
I mean, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if birth has, like, it came from a combination of womb and leaving,
probably. I mean, we
but who
could,
knows?
who knows? Um, Finished watching Stargate, which is definitely a wild ride because that's a 10 season long show.
Dang.
Um, pretty good science fiction overall. I don't know if I'd put it quite on the same level of Star Trek necessarily. Well,
Or its afterlife.
no, Afterlife is not science fiction. Or is it science? That's not a debate we're gonna get into yet. That's not a debate we're gonna get into yet. We
We can't spoil things yet.
yeah, I can't say if my current work in progress is like better than anything because it's not out yet, so it can't be. I can't judge it on here. I can talk all the shit I want on my private account and just stroke my ego a little bit on there, but I can't say anything publicly on here. Not yet, not yet. We can't. It's not peak fiction yet if it ain't out yet.
True.
Because we always assume something's gonna be like we all thought that like Cyberpunk and like season and like final season were gonna be like the greatest things ever, but then they came out and it's like oh no they weren't. Never hype yourself up too much. Never. I'm a huge hypocrite. I am a huge hypocrite when I say that.
'Cause you've
I'd
been
say
hyping this up for months
yeah,
now.
for months now. Um, but it never comes out. Watch, it never comes out. It will come out. It will come out. I can promise you that. Hopefully by the end of summer, it will drop. Hopefully, at least the
The
first
first
chapter.
book.
At least the first chapter will drop.
Oh, okay. Dang, how
Um,
long is that chapter?
the first chapter. Oh no, I'm done with the first chapter.
You meant first volume or like
First
book?
fall. Yeah, first book. Or well, like, because that it's okay. I'll spoil it right now. It's 13 chapters, so
Okay.
I'm currently working on chapter 3, and I think I'm like 10
Okay.
pages. Yeah, I think I'm like 10 pages into that. So, because what chapter 1 was like 15 pages, chapter 2 is 17 pages. I'm thinking chapter 3
Okay.
might be even longer than that. So yeah, it's gonna take a while.
So it'll be like probably under 300 pages or around
E-
there.
Probably around
Like
because
250.
yeah, some chapters might be shorter than others. Because when I was talking about it with my editor, and I think like I said that like max would probably be about like this was the I was just kind of I'm just kind of guessing when I say this, but I think max will probably be like 18 maybe 20 pages, and then shortest will probably be like 8 to 10 about.
Mm-hmm.
Because like some chapters might just be like action sequences, and like some chapters might just be like dialogue. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be interesting.
So how are you gonna drop it?
Bi-weekly, just every other week. That gives me
Oh no, I'm talking about like are you gonna I'm assuming you're gonna do it digitally, or do you have like a publishing company or something?
no, no. I've talked about this many times. I do not work for anyone. I work for myself.
Good.
It will be yes, good. Um, it will be on a couple of sites. It will be on. I think I picked out 4. 4 that I know
Okay.
of, which is like AO3, Writing.com, DeviantArt, Wattpad. If there are any others, then I would love to hear about them because I would like to spread it around as much as I can. That way, I get more people who might be interested in donating a little bit of money to me so I can survive in this capitalist hellhole.
I mean, I can't think of any others. Maybe like just do a
Yeah,
straight up like PDF or something and
maybe.
like set up a Patreon or something.
I don't know. I don't want to set up a Patreon. I don't like Patreon because it's like, oh, donate a lot of money to me and you can get like exclusive content. Like I don't really like that much.
Yeah, or you could do something like that where you just like someone pays you like $5 or something and you give them the PDF, or just give it for free if you want.
No, I want it to be free. I want it to be. I want as many people to enjoy it as possible. Like if it does well and if people like it, then I think like one of the first things I want to do with it is try getting it translated into other language because I have like I know a ton of people who are fluent in Spanish. And like I want to get it into an audiobook format so that way that like blind people can enjoy it. And like I want it to be as accessible as possible.
Hmm.
I think that's a like I want because as someone who is a victim of our ableist society, I want it to be as accessible as it can possibly. I want as many people who can enjoy it and are willing to enjoy it.
Hmm.
Not a
Yeah,
mentality I think a lot of people have, which is kind of sad.
yeah, which sucks because there's a lot of good stuff out there that just people can't access.
Yeah, like if you're living in like a really authoritarian country, then you're probably never gonna get a hold on it.
Well, yeah, like China can't
Yeah,
unless
unless
you can
I
somehow
unless I
upload it.
specifically market it to China
Yeah,
after like Chinese version.
yeah.
Like Star Wars is kind of doing that right now with their High Republic stuff. So like there's like a web novel for like the new like the current like ongoing Star Wars event, but it's only being released in China, and it's like
Hmm.
it's like the actual premise of the plot zone's kind of cool.
Gotta learn China or Mandarin, I guess.
And people still saying that Mandarin is the way of the future. Is that because like everyone's like, oh, if you're going into business, you gotta learn. Mandarin. People still say that because I know people said that a lot like 6 years ago.
Yeah, people still say that.
Yeah.
Like Mandarin, well, but I feel like Arabic would probably be better
Yeah.
than
Well,
Mandarin. Or
oh,
that's what they speak in India, right?
what?
Can't remember. Arabic. I
I
think I
I
think that's
I thought they speak.
I can't remember.
Hold on.
I
Oh
think
yeah.
there's multiple languages, but I think overall it's mainly Arabic. But
I thought it was
I
Hindi
could
or
be wrong.
something. Uh,
Oh, actually, you're probably right.
yeah, it's a lot of people in India speak English too, but it's not their main language.
Yeah.
If Google will work, what do they speak in India? Oh yeah, it's Hindi. Speak Hindi.
Okay.
I'm assuming though it's more
So,
like
but so then,
there might be a little bit of Arabic, like maybe more
wait, what
toward
were you
like
saying?
there might be a little bit more like Arabic there to like more towards the
Uh
west
huh.
where it's like closer to the Middle
Yeah.
East.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Because
it's
I'd
mainly
say Hindi would probably be the language to learn
yeah, it's probably
since India
Hindi.
just keeps growing.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's true. I actually like apparently like 20 like in the 90s. Apparently it was like Russian was like the big thing to learn because like people were
Uh,
like, oh, Russia's
you
gonna
cut
be.
out.
But I did okay. Um, I was saying like back in like the 90s, uh, apparently like Russian was like I think I don't have like a verified source on this, but I just can you hear me?
I heard you just now, but I couldn't for a second. I don't know if it's my. I tried connect to a different Wi-Fi, so hopefully it works now.
Oh boy, thank you. Anyway, I forgot what I was talking about already.
um,
Some
we
some
were
some
talking about
language
India and like languages.
languages. So many languages.
I
So
think I
many.
heard you say Russia.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So like so like in the in like the 90s apparently like people thought that like the language to learn would be Russia because people a lot of people thought that like we were going to be like doing business with like a lot of like the US and like a lot of like Western European countries because like they were all like, oh, we're probably going to be doing business with Russia now that Soviets have fallen or
Mhm.
something. And uh,
Well, that was probably a thing before, like with the communist takeover.
maybe I don't know.
Like people thought, like, oh, we need a if us Americans don't kill all the Russians, we're gonna have to learn Russian.
To speak with them, yes, to communicate.
Yeah.
Oh, Russia. I actually kind of want to visit Russia because like there are some like really cool. There are like a lot of really cool places in Russia.
Hmm. Yeah, like I can't remember. It's like some castle that looks really cool.
Yeah, and they have like
It,
a
I
lot of
think it's in
like
Moscow.
yeah the Kremlin or not the,
Yes,
yeah the
that's what I'm
Kremlin.
thinking of.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
that's their like their main government building.
Uh huh.
But they also have like a lot of like cool like just kind of things out in their nature.
Oh
And it
yeah.
yeah and it's a big ass country too. So like there's like a lot of
Hmm.
yeah and like yeah it's a cool place and like 'cause, you know it's on both European and Asian continent so it's like the cultures are also like super varied and stuff.
Yeah,
If
and
only
there's
there
a
got
ton of like
yeah.
different ethnic and indigenous groups there too.
If only their government didn't suck.
For real.
I could say that about every country on earth. It's like, oh wow, what a beautiful place. If only their government didn't suck.
I mean, you can't really say that for a lot of like, I guess, Pacific islands because a lot of them don't have government if they're undiscovered. But
Maybe. I mean, yeah, kind of out in the nowhere, no people,
mhm.
just an
I know
island.
there's one island where like the English tried to
Is that the island
like
where you like
name
you?
it something.
Oh no, oh, I could continue. I thought you were
Wait,
talking
go
about.
on.
I thought you were talking about like
No,
the
what were
one
you saying?
island where like um okay the one island where like you're not supposed to go to and like the indigenous people like will fucking cannibalize you if you go there or something.
Yes.
Yeah, that island.
Yes, that's the island I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the English tried to essentially colonize it and like make it a part of their empire, but they got driven out by the people that lived there. And I think they got a lot of their tools because a ship wrecked there and they just salvaged all that.
Peace.
And like from the few pictures of it, um, it's actually really pretty.
Uh, honestly, that's like one of the like there's like a story concept that I really want to write one day, and it's kind of like, but I have to get like a history consultant or something because it's like the concept would be like, oh shit, my Discord is not.
I can still hear you.
Okay, it just says not respond. Weird.
Mm.
But yeah, like the premise is that like a world where like colonization and a lot of like the empires in history like never happened, and so kind of like a lot of cultures kind of like basically like the Roman spread of Christianity kind of like never happened, and like a lot of
Mm.
those things kind of just like never
Hmm.
happened, and like a lot of
Yeah,
like yeah, so like a lot of like
that'd be pretty
societies
interesting.
kind of like just grew and developed into like a more modern setting in like a very futuristic world, and they kind of like still like all worship their old gods and stuff.
Hmm. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, so like there would be
So
like kind of like a modern like like metropolis, but it's like all like Norse mythology inspired, and then there are like there are like indigenous American tribes and stuff. They have like their like
mhm.
cities and stuff. Like that would be like
to what it, to, to what extent would there not be empires?
um
Like, would there?
definitely the Romans
Back.
probably would have never happened. I'd say
Okay.
I think that's probably the biggest one. Like because in
Uh-huh.
my opinion, I think if you want to if you like if we're gonna like look at history and if we want to say what went wrong, I'm gonna I personally blame a lot of stuff on the Romans.
Uh, Definitely for Europe, yeah.
Yeah, definitely for Western
Europe and like
culture.
Northern Africa.
Yeah, definitely in terms of like Western culture, I blame a lot of stuff, and even like some of our current modern day issues on the Romans. Like
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Like we still take a. There's a lot of like Roman influences in
yeah.
modern culture, but I mainly ask like, would city states still be a thing?
Maybe because the Greeks had city states, and like the Greeks, the Greeks did like there would
But
probably be a
the Greeks
modern.
were also they were. I mean, they weren't like a. They didn't become a prominent empire, but they're still technically an empire because they uh did conquer like I think they conquered like Macedonia
Yeah, they had colonies and
and
stuff. I know that out
yeah,
in like they fought with the Persians or like the old Persians a lot,
yeah.
Egyptians. Like the Greeks and the Egyptians kind of enslaved each other, or well, prisoners
Hmm.
of war, I guess, or whatever.
But I mean, it was slavery.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, but like yeah. So like kind of like it's like a lot of like intermingling and like a lot of like those kind of like cultural exchanges didn't happen. Like like I think like more or less like if a lot of cultures kind of just stayed isolation. Whoa, yeah. No, wait, what is this? Oh, it's no, it's an antivirus. Anyway, so
But yeah,
like what if like a lot of cultures kind of just stayed isolationist in a sense, I guess.
or well, I don't think that would be possible. I think it would be more.
Well, I
It
mean,
wouldn't be cultural
it's
erasure like the Spanish burning all the Aztec or not Aztec, Incan books and all of that.
yeah, like that would like in this theoretical world that would have never happened.
Yeah.
Like all those cultures would have been allowed to kind of like flourish and modernize and like advance and stuff.
Uh huh.
And like
And another thing with like cultures, like they're always like mixing with other cultures
yeah,
and
so
developing
like I think
endpoints.
to an extent, some like I feel like the Greeks and Egyptians probably would have still will still have their history. I think that will probably stay
Okay.
intact. Um, but like you know like a lot of like Celtic and like Norse cultures kind of like stayed there and like they never fall and they kind of also like got a chance to like flourish and modernize as well.
And didn't
Um,
become Christian.
no, they wouldn't become Christian because
Yeah.
or
Or there would be
that's
like there wouldn't be as much of an Islamic presence in Africa, probably.
probably not. Yeah,
Like to the point
yeah,
where
yeah, kind of like Wakanda.
they're
I think
yeah.
yeah, I think
Okay.
that's what I should have said. But like the concept is kind of like what if Wakanda, but the rest of the world, basically.
Hmm.
Because I really fucking like Wakanda as a concept. I think it's such a cool thing.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the I think that was one of the few things that I really liked about the Black Panther movie was how it just showed off Wakanda and how they just made it look like this really cool thing, but they still kind of kept a lot
Yeah.
of aspects of like it was like super modernized, or well, not even modernized, like super futuristic and just so far advanced. But there's still so many aspects of kind of like Afrocentric culture mixed in there too,
Yeah.
and it yeah. So like what if that, but just on like a much larger scale, essentially.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be, I think that would be cool. I think someone should get on that because I would probably not get
Hmm.
into that for a very long time. But hey, if you're a writer and if you're listening, I just gave you an idea. So I'm sure it's been done. I'm sure something like that has been done. That's,
Hmm.
I mean, Wakanda. So yeah, it's,
Yeah.
you know, um, that's one of the like the only things I really hate about being a writer is that like I have is that you get so many ideas. It's just hard to like pinpoint on one thing.
Yeah. And it's also like you have to consider that there's really no original thought. So
Yeah, like there isn't really an any original like there's always a saying that like writers like will never tell you where they get their ideas from. But like I do. I've publicly admitted where I get where you know where I got the idea for Afterlife and stuff. I like I've even said in the past it is an SMT ripoff. I'm like but it is. Like you're gonna read it and you're gonna be like, wow, this is literally just Persona 5. Except better because I read it. What was that thing I said the other day where I was like, oh yeah, Atlas should just hire me to write Persona 6. I could probably do it better than they could.
Oh, yeah, and then I responded with you should involve themes of teen
I wanted to
pregnancy.
strangle you. I wanted to strangle you when you replied with that. I was like, get out of here. Kid, get out of here. Oh god. But yeah, I could so totally do Persona 6 way better than anyone ever could. Because
For
first of
real.
all, yeah, for real. Let's see. What in my Persona 6, what would I include? First of all, I would include uh along with a male protagonist, a female protagonist, and a non-binary. protagonist. I think more games should start doing that.
Yeah. Honestly, I think you should just have the protagonist be non-binary or
Yeah.
like just customizable almost.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
maybe
Kind of
not
like
quite customizable, but
kind of like what Splatoon 3 is doing, because like I think this is one of like the few things that like Nintendo's actually been doing a pretty good job of lately, and that's including less gender preference in their games, I guess. Because like in Animal Crossing last year, like the game never like upfront asked you to, like select your gender. It was just like, oh, pick a style. Do you want a little bit more of a masculine style? Do you want a bit more of a feminine style? And like you could like
and you
like
could also you could change like
yeah, I think you could
whatever.
yeah you could change it whenever too, which is like
Yeah.
excellent. But I wish more people would
Uh-huh.
have talked about that. That was such an important thing. It was so minor, but it was so important, and I don't think people gave Animal Crossing enough of that type of appreciation on that perspective, because like
Hmm.
that's so genius. That aspect. Like I know New Horizons in a lot of people's mind isn't like a perfect game. Some people think that it's not even that good of a game, but I think if there's one aspect of it that should be praised, it's just that little customizability alone. And like Platoon 3 is like taking it even as like a step further. They're like it's just select a hairstyle. It's not even like, oh, select a male side or like a male style or a female style. It's just select a hairstyle,
Hmm.
no gender, and it's like, oh my god, yes. It's like do more of
Yeah.
that. Then stupid fucking Pokemon doesn't won't do that shit. They still have male and female protagonists. Like what the hell? Hell is that? Get out of here.
But like, I feel like out of all game franchises, I mean, I love Pokemon, but like the Pokemon company really sucks.
I know. And like the franchise itself takes so forever to actually like take steps forward.
Yeah.
And like they had it perfectly with Black and White. They had it right there.
Hmm.
Like it could have been if they just kept going with Black and White's ideas. Like Pokemon right now would have been perfect. Like here's what I think. Like I think every Pokemon game should have done what Black and White did, but to like a greater extent, and just said, okay, no more old Pokemon, just new Pokemon. You don't get the old Pokemon, just get the new Pokemon. That's it. Because it's
Yeah.
like we've reached a point where there are too many of those little. And
Yeah, and I can't remember. I mean, I remember like up to like Gen 5.
yeah, I
And
I
the thing
can
is like
probably
I've played Gen 6 and Gen 7. I haven't played Sword and Shield, but I don't remember any of them. Like I can remember some of them,
yeah
but not very.
I can remember I could probably remember everything up to Gen 5, but just afterwards it's just like whatever. Well,
And
like
well,
maybe it's because I grew up. I don't know.
maybe
But like
I just think
there
like between the Pokemon look much different, really, because Gen 6 is when it was 3D, not.
yeah.
I mean, Black and White was kind of it was it was kind of 3D, I guess, just with like the perspectives,
Black
but
and White, yeah, Black and White had a little bit of
was still more
3D illusion.
pixelated and 2D.
Yeah, but it was animated pixelated sprites though, which is god tier. I wish they
Yeah.
would go back to that. I wish they would go back to that.
Hmm.
Because like those sprites were so much more expressive than the 3D models they use now.
Yeah.
Or it's like if you look at like I think if you're like a dedicated Pokemon fan, then you'll know of like the Coliseum games like XD Heal Darkness and Battle Revolution,
Hmm.
like those
I,
games.
I I still have I still have my N64 from like it's got to be like 25 years old now or something.
Yeah.
Um, but I have Coliseum on it, and it
No, that's
Coliseum was
Stadium.
one of the few
Stadium. That's
games that still
Stadium.
works.
That's
Yeah,
that's that's Pokemon Stadium. Coliseum was
Stadium,
on the
Stadium.
GameCube. Yeah.
Coliseum is the one on Wii.
No, Coliseum was on GameCube. So is XD Gale of Darkness.
Was it?
Coliseum is on
Well,
Battle Revolution is on Wii. That is
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That Battle Revolution was on Wii. Stadium was on N64, and I have both of those.
Yeah, and it's like if you look at the 3D models in those games, they're pretty expressive. They show a lot of personality. Like yeah, like I get it. Like there were less Pokemon back then, so they were a lot easier to like animate. But still though, like they went all the way up to Gen 4. And they then like Battle Revolution still has a ton of like really expressive 3D models. So it's like and like that was when they were like what 400s. That's like that's a lot of little critters to animate.
Yeah,
So it's like
and it's also like you could upload. Well, I think it was only on Pokemon Pearl and Diamond you could upload, but if you like connected your DS to the Wii, you could upload like
yeah you can transfer you can transfer your current party and stuff. But it's like you like they could still put that same effort because like they're like a multi-billion-dollar company. They have the resources, but they just don't. It's so stupid.
Yeah,
it's just dumb. And it's like they have the opportunity. It also gets screwed over the fact by that Pokemon is like in every other. It's a bi-yearly or biannual series, I think. Yeah, because we've been getting
so.
yeah because we've been getting
Well,
them like every
mainline
mainline is bi-yearly because well yeah we got Sword and what Sun and Sword and Shield came out in 2019 I think yeah it came out in 2019. And then this year we're getting the Diamond Pearl remakes, which are mainline for some reason.
Yeah. Wait, what come out? Oh, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon came out 2017, I think.
Did this count though? Because Sun and Moon only came out in 2016, and then Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon came out, which is interesting.
I don't know.
But then again, those games are pretty effortless.
Yeah.
It's not you, but yeah. So Ultra Sun, Ultra 2017 or 2016 or
I think Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon came out 2017, and then I think Sun and Moon came out 2016. Yeah. Did it come out 2016?
Yeah, it did come out in 2016.
Dang.
Then when did X and Y come out? Or no, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Those were 2014.
X and were those 2014? I thought those were 2015.
Hold on. Come on.
Or no, maybe you're right. They probably were 2015.
I think they were 20 because those came out when I was in 8th grade, I think.
Yeah, because I got those for my birthday, and I remember in 2014 I was living in this apartment.
Yeah, because I remember that.
It's very specific, but yeah.
Because I went up to the Bay Area to see my dad's family that year. Hold on.
Yeah. Then X and Y I think came out. They might have come out 2013.
No, I think they came out 2012 because that was when I was in 6th grade. That was when I was in 6th grade. I remember.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire came out in 2014. Then. No, those were 2013. Yeah.
X and Y were 2013?
Yeah, X and Y were 2013.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I was playing those before I moved in 2014.
That's weird, because I could have sworn that came... Wait. Maybe I'm wrong. Was that in 7th grade or was that in 8th grade?
Black and White came out in 2010. Then when did Black 2 and Black and White 2 come out?
Let's see.
I think those must have come out like 2011.
Those came out in 2012.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so only...
Black and White come out 2011? Yes, actually, yeah, that is the case, because I remember...
yeah, 2010.
It's 10 years old now, which is just crazy.
Oh my god, really? Oh.
Yeah.
This came out when I was 9. Or like, yeah. I was like 9 years old when that came out. Or I was like 9 or 6. I was like 9 or 10-ish. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember because like there was this one day when when I when I was yeah, it was when I was in like third grade, and I had gotten sick. I got like sick for a couple days. So I literally just stayed home and just played black and white all day, and it was like it was like the great it was like peak. That was like such like that was a peak childhood thing,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah, nothing like that will probably ever happen. Or like the closest thing to that is just being severely depressed and just locking myself in my room all day and playing Xenoblade, which is really sad because it's like it's like the difference. Like, oh, I'm a happy little kid. I'm at home sick and I'm playing Pokemon. To like 10 years later, I'm cranky and depressed, and my life sucks because of school. So I'm just gonna shut myself in my room and play this silly RPG all day.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2
Xenoblade.
specifically.
No, it was Xenoblade One. Um,
Oh, was it?
yeah. So like last fall. Uh,
Oh.
yeah. So like last fall, school put me in a really tough spot, and like there were just some days where I was just like, I cannot do this right now. So I just like turned my I just turned my computer off, shut my blinds, I shut my door, and I just turned on my Switch, and I just played Xenoblade for like a few hours, and then I would like watch like break. Yeah, so it's like my two coping mechanisms at the time were Xenoblade and Breaking Bad, and I was like, oh
I mean, they're both considered peak
yeah,
fictions.
they're both
So
considered peak fiction. So I just kind of drowned my sorrows in those two things. um, and then so yeah, that was that time. Yeah, because then I finished Breaking Bad on Thanksgiving, and I was like, wow,
mhm.
a great show. Probably rewatch that. I have a feeling that AMC is probably going to start their own streaming service, and Breaking Bad's probably going to get taken off. I have a feeling. I have a sneaking suspicion that that's going to happen in recent
Given a
times.
given a Peacock. That's what the NBC one is, right?
Is that what it's called? Do they actually call it
I think it's
Peacock?
called Peacock.
That's really
Yeah.
dumb. Really
Well, I
dumb.
think it's because the like feathers behind are supposed to be peacock
Is that
feathers.
what their logo is supposed to be?
I think so.
That's really dumb. I had no idea that's what it was supposed to be.
I mean, I I'm assuming that because the streaming service is called Peacock. So
Oh, Peacock. Such majestic things. They're Mediterranean too. I always thought they were like Asian, but no, they're Mediterranean.
that's interesting.
Yeah, because the ancient Greeks worshipped them, and
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah,
yeah, like they were. I think they were one of like
it's
Hera's.
Juno's. Oh,
Yeah,
not yeah,
or
Hera.
was it Hera or
Hera is the
Juno?
Greek. Juno is the Roman name for the same
Yeah,
or similar.
because Hera has another bird, I think too.
Well, Hera's also cow.
Hera's a, no, she has another bird too. I think she's like a raven or something.
Does she?
Maybe I can't remember. Uh, I actually have a very fond memory of peacocks because when we got our when we got my childhood dog, my first lab, the place that her breeders they had peacocks in their backyard. It's cool.
That's pretty cool.
I would not mind a peacock. I think having a peacock would be cool. Or you might need a license to have them, I think. I don't think they're yeah, because they're not indigenous to America. But yeah, I think you need a license to have them.
Is that the case with all
What?
animals? Is that the case
Mm,
with all animals that aren't
all
indigenous?
yeah, all animals that are not native. Like for a hedgehog, you need to have a license because hedgehogs are native to
Shouldn't that
America.
apply to like pigs and cows too?
No, not necessarily. There's a difference.
Since those are livestock.
Yeah, yeah, since those are livestock. Yeah, like domesticated pets that aren't
Oh yeah, I
native
guess
or something
that's.
like that. You need a license.
But
Uh,
most dogs aren't. Eh, I don't,
that's a different case.
most dogs.
I know
Yeah,
it's weird.
dogs and
It's weird.
cats. Yeah,
It do not make sense like most laws. Um.
yeah.
But yeah, I would not mind owning a few exotic animals. I don't know if I should say that. I don't know if that's a very progressive thing of me to say that. I don't know. I just like animals. I would
Well, would you want to own them or would you want to coexist with them?
coexistence sounds kind of based.
So just say it as coexisting with.
Existence. Like I would so be down to like have like a huge ass space, open space, and just have a bunch of monkeys and shit, and just coexist with the monkeys. Could throw our shit at our neighbors. Oh, love that. I'd love to have some monkeys to hang out with, like a lemur, a zabumafu. Oh, fucking love zabumafu as a kid. That the Crap Brothers. Oh, that shit was like so based as a kid.
Yeah.
That and Steve Irwin and his daughter's show. Yeah,
Oh, what was that? Was that like Crocodile
yeah, Crocodile
Hunter?
Hunter, and
No, was it?
then
Yeah,
there's not Crocodile Hunter, but like he was a
it's something with Crocodile.
something. He was a really chill dude. You would never hunt crocodiles. But yeah, then his daughter also had a show on Discovery Family.
Mm.
I think she just had a kid actually. I think she just had a baby. I don't
Uh,
know. No,
hmm.
maybe. I know she's married. I know she got married. She got married to some American dude.
Yeah, I think I heard that.
Yeah, yeah, no, they did because I remember reading like a Tumblr post about them and like because like the way they fell in love was like the exact same way that Steve Irwin fell in love with his wife because
Oh, that's cute.
yeah they just met at the zoo. Like the way that Steve Irwin met his wife was that he literally like locked eyes with her mid wrestling a crocodile. So and then he was like, "Oh, she's the one. Oh, I'm about to get my shit wrecked by a crocodile." Uh, what's that one tweet where it's like the dude out of the aquarium and he's like, "I just found these stingrays. I'm about to punch these fuckers for Steve." But then there's like a follow up tweet to like a year later, and he's like, "I'm sorry I punched you, Mr. Ray. It was very not kind of me." Sea rays. Have you ever seen videos of like those like giant ass manta rays?
Like, especially when it's like underneath them and it looks like
Yeah,
they have a little face. So I
yeah,
think it's just their mouth.
yeah. Oh, they're so majestic. I would I would love to go swimming on one. I think there's a video out there. I think Ebby posted it, but it's like a video of like some dude like on a boat, and then he like jumps on like he like rides a manta ray, and like someone put like the Hoenn surfing music in the background to it or
Oh
something.
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
It had like Route 216.
Like I would love to do that. I fucking love marine life so much. Marine life is so cool.
Yeah.
It's honestly like all of my favorite animals are like fish, whales. Fucking love whales. Whales are so like so like I would love to go swimming with a whale. Just to be up them, just to like see their mass.
Yeah, because well, like, especially like a blue whale, right? Those
Yeah,
are the biggest animals
yeah, those
ever.
are. Uh,
Identified animal.
I don't think there could be anything bigger than that, personally. At least here on Earth, like
Probably
never know.
here on Earth and
Yeah.
like
Oh, what
right
about?
now for sure.
Yeah, but people are like, oh, what about the megalodon? It's like, no, those are extinct, extinct animals
There's
that do
probably
not
a
exist.
reason why the biggest animal is extinct. So
Yeah, it's like, oh, but the big giant shark. It's like, no, it doesn't exist because we have blue whales. That proves the fact that the megalodons do not exist anymore. And people are like, but oh, if that's a shark that big, then why aren't you scared? Because it's like, no, because something that big probably wouldn't see us as prey. That's the thing about big predators. It's like the same reason why you never really see like a lion chase after a random ass field mouse because it's just not it's not big enough to be considered prey. So if there really were predatorial an apex predator that big, it probably wouldn't really fuck with us. It wouldn't really see us as like worthy food. Even
yeah,
then,
and
yeah,
also
sharks also don't really
it
eat
also
that often too. So
yeah, it also like plays into like the food web. There's like the different levels, like primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. I think
yeah,
the order is. The
yeah,
top is like quaternary, and that would be like blue whales. They wouldn't eat producers.
yeah,
I mean, maybe like tertiary would eat some producers, but it's typically tertiary eats secondary, then secondary eats producer. It, I might be getting the like names wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how the like
probably
it
something like
goes.
that. Second grade education.
Well, and also history
Also
biology
bio.
class.
Yeah, also bio. You could do a unit on that
Yeah.
for like a month, and then you move on to something. God, if I God, I wish I could have taken a marine biology class, just marine biology in high school. I would have been like, oh, I hate science. Hate science classes. Mm. Yeah, I'd rather do just something fun. You know, like I did astronomy my last semester. It was okay. Um, I think it was made a little bit better by the fact that I was watching Star Trek and I was really getting into science fiction at the time.
Mm.
Um, I did pretty well on that, I think. But like there were like some things that were like way over my head, like formulas and shit, and like stars, like studying the stars. I didn't understand that shit at all. But like planets and like understanding like, oh, what does it take to have life on another planet? I did pretty well on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, like I really want to make like a legit science fiction series, but that will probably never happen for a long time because like I do not understand astronomy or astrology or wait, what's
Astronomy.
astronomy?
Astrology
Okay,
is like
astrology is yeah,
horoscopes.
astrology is white girl shit. Yeah, yeah, I need like I hopefully like within the next couple of years I'll befriend someone who is like really really smart in that field, and then so I can have like a consultant to like make like a really good ass science fiction series. Like I have an idea of what I would like to do with something like that. It's like I've I've been watching Star Trek and Stargate as you know, and
Mm-hmm.
I want more science fiction like those two series that are just about exploration and just deal with like actual like scientific concepts and stuff. Um, because whenever people say, "Oh, like what's the greatest science fiction ever?" People are like, "Oh, Star Wars," but like I personally don't consider Star Wars to be good science fiction. I think it is good other things. Like I think Star Wars is a good fantasy series and a good Western series in some aspects and like a good war series, but I don't think it's good science fiction. I
Yeah.
think I think if you want like actual like tried and true science fiction, then I'd say watch Star Trek. Um, a lot of people
I'll
also say
say.
like read Dune or something, but I've kind of been reading Dune on and off. I don't think it's like it's an interesting world, I guess, but I don't think it's like super science fiction-y. I personally would not put it on the same level as Star Trek, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. Also, like, is Star Wars even science fiction? It's fantasy, just
People,
space.
yeah, well, people consider it science fiction because it deals with like a few science fiction concepts. It's like future. Science fiction is a very broad term. That's the thing. It's a very broad concept because like cyberpunk and shit could fall under science fiction, and they're like some like a like a Lovecraftian horror falls under can fall under science fiction. Um,
That's true.
yeah, so like science fiction is a very broad thing. It's a very broad medium. But like if you were to ask me like Chase, oh, what do you think is like peak like tried and true science fiction, then I will say Star Trek, like Stargate. I think those are very good at dealing with actual scientific concepts that might be a little bit dated because those are pieces of media that have existed at least, especially in Star Trek's case, like it's a franchise that's been like what 50, 60 years in the making, and like
Yeah.
astronomy is one of those things that where it's changing every day and like new things are getting discovered every day.
Yeah. Especially like 60 years ago, like we wouldn't have, well, 60 years ago exactly would have been like 1961, and we wouldn't have
Or
been on the moon by then,
yeah, well, Star Trek
right?
came out. Yeah, Star Trek started in like '68, I think, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a
When
bit
did,
after that.
but that was still before the moon landing, right?
No, I think it was after.
What
Hold
moon
on.
landing was like 60 or 69.
Let's look it up because I'm assuming.
Yeah, I was
So
July 20th, 1969.
okay, I think because I know in the later seasons, I think they reference the moonlight. I think in like season 3, because there are only 3 seasons of the original track, the original series. Let's see. It okay, yeah, it started in '66. Then it would have. So or maybe they don't mention it. I know they probably mention it somewhere.
But
No, that
still, yeah,
yeah,
like Star Trek's like, for the time that Star Trek's been around, science, specifically like
yeah,
astronomy, has
a lot
like
has
increased a ton
changed.
because we've actually visited the moon and Mars, and
Yeah,
have learned a ton about like Mercury and Venus.
so I still think there are interesting theories that in my personal opinion are feel pretty likely to be correct and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And like there are a lot of philosophies in like Star Trek and Stargate. Very interesting still, and like like Star Trek itself is also a very it is a super progressive series. Next Generation at the very least is extremely progressive. Um, and like I'm watching a Deep Space Nine right now, and I it's so like the thing about Star Trek is that it's at the core at its core it's a series very based in like exploration, like um, you know what's the word I'm looking for? Um, I think one of like the biggest themes of Star Trek is really being open minded, I guess. 'Cause, like you have to because like
Learning.
yeah, it's like uh hold on. Prime directive. So like or like uh not the prime directive. What's the saying? It's to like seek out new life and new civilizations and like, to boldly go where no one gone before, So like
Oh
like that,
wait,
like that's like the big motto of the series. They
yeah.
say it before every episode of the original series, Next Generation. Or well, okay, no, like one of the biggest things I loved about Next Generation is because like in the original series in the '60s, the saying was to boldly go where no man has gone before, and then in Next Generation they changed it to boldly go where no one has gone before, and it's like, ah, love that. I love that gender neutrality. Love it.
Hmm.
Um, and like I'm watching Deep Space Nine right now, and like so the one of the main one of the characters in the main cast, his name is Odo, and he's the shapeshifter, and he doesn't really like know who he is really, and I in my personal opinion, I think he's a very asexually coded character, like
Yeah.
like multiple times, like there are like characters who try to make advances on him, and he's just like really not into it, and he doesn't really understand it, so it's stuff like that. It's like and you know and like kind of like a little bit of transgenderism too, because like so like one of the characters, I think the head's her name is Dax, and so her species is called the Trill, and so they're kind of like they have a symbiotic relationship with like these little parasite things that like live in their stomachs, and so like they have like a host symbiotic relationship, right?
Yeah.
And so like whenever the host dies, the symbiote gets passed on to a new host, and so but the symbiotes themselves are not bound to gender. So the Dax in Deep Space Nine is has just bonded had just like right before the show started, just bonded with a new host. Her name is Jadzia, but before that there was Chevron, or like Chevron something Dax, and that was a male. But Jadzia is a female, so a lot of kind of Dax's character is kind of like, learning how to be a woman again after being a man for like, like 80 something years. So
Hmm.
it's like a
Yeah.
little bit of there's like a little bit of transgenderism in there, which I really like. Um, and then there's a lot of like really cool progressive stuff in Star Trek. I think if you're really into progressive shit, I think you absolutely need to fucking watch Star Trek, because it's like, and like the Federation itself, like the Federation don't have a concept of money, which is like, oh
Extremely based.
yeah, extremely base. And it's like, because like Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, like his vision. So like Star Trek takes place in like 300, 400 years from now, and like his vision of that future was like a world without greed, a world without hunger, like a world where like where we like finally like really are able to like kind of look past Earth and really go beyond the stars, because like we basically solved, because like humans basically solved, like in the Star Trek timeline, the humans basically solved like most of the problems with Earth, and so they were finally like, able to like really go beyond, and like it's like, oh god, it makes me feel like shit, because it's like, why did I get to be why was I born now, like why couldn't I have been born in the future? It's like they don't have to worry about going hungry, because they have like replicators that can just replicate like any food. It's like,
Yeah.
and like because they have no money, like people kind of just can just like do jobs and like do their jobs, and like not really have to like worry about things like the humans in the Star Trek, like people of Earth at least. like I'm not going to claim that the Federation is perfect because it's a system of government. It's not.
Mhm.
But like if you really want to see why the Federation is kind of shitty, then I'd say watch Deep Space Nine because like Deep Space Nine is less about exploration, is more about like the politics of like the galaxy in Star Trek. Because so Deep Space Nine, like is a space station, and it's situated in the orbit of this planet called Bajor, and so the Bajoran people are a very oppressed race. They have a very long history of oppression from this other group of aliens called the Cardassians. And so like a little bit before Next Generation began, the Federation was at war with the Cardassians. Um and they kind of won. And so and in their treaty, um the Cardassians lost control of Bajor, and it's kind of weird. So like the Bajorans kind of won their independence of like their little system of planets, but at the same time, um, they had to form like kind of like a mutual respect with the Federation, or else the Cardassians would kind of just come back and take everything over. And so like with the Federation there, um, the Cardassians wouldn't come back, but now like among the Bajoran people, there's like a lot of like kind of like worry. It's like, oh well, what if like we're still slaves, and what if the Federation is just our new master? It's a lot of stuff like that, and it's super interesting. Um, but yeah, that's again just watch Star Trek. Watch Star Trek. That's my biggest recommendation. I mean, like if you want more stuff like that, then watch Stargate. Because like I don't know whether I should call it a progressive. I don't know whether I should call it Stargate super progressive. Because the thing about Stargate is that like it's how should I put it? So like the Stargate in Stargate is like this thing. It's like a portal to other planets that have Stargates on them. That the Stargate itself is like it's owned by the Air Force, and so like make of it what you will. A lot of it is kind of based in like stuff involving the United States military. So it's like kind of like make like if you choose to watch Stargate, make of it what you will. Uh, try take it with a grain of
Is it
salt.
like glorifying the military at all, kind of thing, or is it?
I don't really know sometimes. Sometimes I want to say yes, other times no, not really.
Okay.
I don't
Maybe it's kind of like a neutral position.
I'm not sure. You'd have to watch it and kind of determine that for yourself. I'm not saying it's changed my views on the military, but I think I think one of the interesting things about Stargate is that it kind of dealt with like the military's relationship with like politicians and stuff, which was interesting
Hmm.
because it's like at the end of the day, like if you're a soldier, who's the one whose life, like what, like your life is in whose
Who are you
hands?
really protecting?
Yeah, who are you really protecting? And like the other thing about Stargate too, so like the character of Daniel Jackson, he's like the doctor, and like he figured out how the a Stargate works, and like he can speak like and like he learns how to speak like multiple alien dialects and stuff because it's all like the thing about well whatever, not important. Like the thing about Stargate is that in that show, the whole goal is to obtain weapons and advanced technology from other alien cultures to protect Earth
Mm.
from the threat of the main antagonists in the series, the Goa'uld. Um, but and like this is there's a point that gets brought up in the show a lot by a lot of advanced cultures is that they But like a lot of those advanced cultures don't want to give Earth their technology, and because it's like, oh well, because they like there was this one alien race that they came into contact with who were very human like, but also like super advanced, like more advanced than they were. And so like their whole story was kind of like, so they came across another, like when they got to the point where they were able to travel through space, they found they came across like a planet that was around the same level as us here on Earth. And so they decided to share their technology with the people of that planet. And within the span of a week, that planet destroyed itself because they couldn't handle the advanced
Dang.
technology, and they started like wars and stuff. And so like their whole point was that no, you can't have our advanced technology because you will destroy yourself. You will start wars and you will destroy your planet. And so that's which is really interesting. Um, but again, it's like Stargate is an interesting series in its own right. There's also a lot about like, especially in like the last two seasons, but it's a pretty overarching theme throughout the whole series. There's a lot of like um there's a lot of like messages about like blind faith and like blindly following religion and stuff like that, which I thought was like really interesting because
Yeah.
like here's the thing about the Goa'uld and later the next the villains after them, the Ori. So like the Goa'uld, um they basically so like they came to Earth like thousands of years ago, and like they built the pyramids and stuff, and they kind of like gave like they impersonated the ancient deities and the ancient gods of like those ancient cultures. Uh, and so they basically impersonated the gods, and they see themselves as gods, even though they're not. They are very much mortal. Um, and like there's like a lot of stuff like that, and it's a cool show. It's a cool series. It's on Netflix if you want to watch it. Start with the movie because there's a movie before that.
Mm.
It's there's a lot to unpack. 'Cause again, it's a 10 season long show.
Dang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there are a few series after it that tie into it that aren't on Netflix for some reason, which I hate. So so the one I finished watching was called is Stargate SG-1. Yeah, that's like the big 10 series thing. That's like the main series, I guess. But then while that was coming out, they made a spin-off series called Stargate Atlantis, and that's 5 seasons. And then after that, there's Stargate Universe, which only went on for 2 seasons, but from what I know of, there is a comic book that continues from the end of season 2. So like if you want to get into it, there's a lot. I'd recommend watching Star Trek first. Though. Star Trek is super based.
Yeah.
There, there's my 40-minute long ramble on some science fiction.
Yeah.
um,
I was about to say, like, you just talked for like I don't know how long,
yeah,
but
my voice. I
all
talk
because we brought up science fiction.
all because we brought up science fiction. I mean, that's welcome to my world. That's what it's like when you're neurodivergent. Would you like to say what have you been watching lately? What have you been watching? Tell me.
um, I haven't been watching a lot recently. I'm still watching Bleach. That's basically it.
How far
And I guess like
how far are you into Bleach? Because it's what
uh, there's like 300 something episodes.
yeah, there's like
I'm
three.
more than halfway. Think I'm on like 170, episode 170.
Yeah.
I'm still on the Aizen Arankar.
Yeah, okay. Are you watching it on Netflix or are you pirating it? I don't, or no, Netflix doesn't even have
Well,
all of it.
Netflix. Yeah, Netflix only has like first 100 episodes or something.
Yeah.
Or no, it has up until like I can't remember.
and it's like how much of that is filler too. So it's like,
Yeah, it has quite a bit of filler. It has up until crap. Uh, it definitely doesn't have up until like Orihime gets captured. It it's the arc before that. I
okay,
can't
so
remember. It's like a semi arc.
I can't remember either. It's been way too, like a lot of Bleach is not even in my memory. It's been like since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I might read the manga one of these years. I might go through and read the manga one of these. I will. I want to read One Piece first. I want to read One Piece first. I want to. Yeah, I want to try to get it. I want to try to get to all the big three at some point because I feel like that would be hell, but it might be fun.
Yeah. I've read some of the manga just like as I'm watching too.
Just like compare.
Just because that's something I sometimes do while watching.
Yeah.
But the art of the manga is amazing. Like the anime does not do it justice.
Yeah.
I almost want to just switch to the manga.
Though from what I've been told, apparently like the art kind of gets progressively worse. That's take that with a grain of salt because um, I haven't like fully read Bleach, but like apparently it's one of those things where it just doesn't get as good as it used to be, which kind of sucks. But I mean, I don't know. I will probably because what the manga is 600 chapters or something.
I think it's like 720 or something.
I know it in Naruto. I know it's like the same around the same. Like let's see, Bleach.
698.
698.
There's 74 volumes.
74 volume. Might be shorter than Naruto. Then I think Naruto is like. Let's see. You gonna tell me?
There are more volumes of Bleach than Naruto. It's not showing the chapters. Though.
Come on, Google. You know the answer. Tell me. List of Naruto chapters. Part 1. Wikipedia. Oh. Let's see. Oh, only like the first. No, okay, not including Shippuden. Okay, yeah. So like OG Naruto is like, it's like classic Naruto when he's just like a little kid. It was like the first.
That's 72 volumes.
That's 27 volumes. And then, okay, yeah, Naruto. Okay, all Naruto is 72. Volumes. So let's see. It's 700 chapters total. So it's shorter than Bleach, but not by that much.
No, it's longer than Bleach.
Oh, it's long. Oh wait, how long is Bleach?
By 2 chapters. 698.
Still not that much. So they're about the same length.
Yeah.
One Piece at 1,000 chapters.
That's honestly insane, though.
I know. I have huge respect. I have huge respect for Oda. Like,
yeah,
the fact that you could carry it on for that long, and like I've seen like his artwork too. It's gotten so much. It's still good, and like it's still getting better, and it's like wow. Because like fucking
more like how do you continue something like One Piece for that long? Like, I mean, I guess it makes sense because it's like it's a goal-based story where like the story will obviously end once they reach their goal, but still, like
I'm thinking of that one tweet from the Diary of a Wimpy Kid offer where he was like, "It will end when I end." That was the funniest shit. They were all like, "Jeff, you've been doing this for a while. Because what was the reason? Like, it was like the 13th book of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and they were like, Jeff, are you sure you still need to do this? But he was like, I haven't peaked yet. That's gonna be my motto. I'm gonna frame that. I'm gonna put it on my wall. I haven't peaked yet. Because well, he's been doing that shit. He's been doing that shit for a while. Hold up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Book series. What is the recent? What is the recent Diary from Wimpy Kid? Let's see. Come on, tell me. Novels. Big Shot. That came out in October 26th. Or well, it will be released on October 26th of this year. So that is the 16th book in the Dark. Jesus Christ! I remember when there were only three. I remember when there were only three.
I remember when there were only like five or something.
Oh my god! How, dude? I hope I hope Jeff. I hope you're okay. I sincerely hope you're.
I'm.
It will end when he ends. It will end when he ends.
I'm just more like, well, does what's the main character? Greg.
Yeah. Greg, yeah. Fucking hate him.
Greg stay the same age?
I think he does. Yeah, I think he does. He's in like a forever purgatory of middle school, I think. Odd.
Greg is such a hard life then.
I hate him so much. Like every now and again. But no, this is something I have to do every now and again. Every now and again, I have to remind people how much I hate Greg Heffley. He's such a dick. I hope I wish the worst upon he deserves everything he gets coming to him. Like he's such I hate him so much. I despise him. Terrible character. Terrible character. God awful. Like Roderick is better. Roderick is like the GOAT. Roderick rules. Roderick rules.
For real.
For real. For real. And fucking Rally, dude. That's his friend, but he's like taking like no, like that's God. That book also gave me such a terrible view because like that I read those when I was in elementary school, and that gave me such a terrible view of like what like my junior high and like middle school life would be like. It's like it's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. Like for me personally, I feel like a lot of my friends always say like, "Oh, junior high was such a bad and cringy time." Like yeah, for me it was kind of cringy because it was kind of like edgy back then, but it's like it was just kind of like whatever. It's like nothing back then really like comes back to haunt. Or no, I shouldn't say that. Stuff back then does kind of come back to haunt me a little bit. Nothing that was really like public though. So like when I was like 13, I tried writing this like really weird series of like self-insert comics. It was called Normal. My editor can attest to this because I that was when I junior high was when I met him, and that was when he kind of became my editor. He still is nowadays. But yeah, there's this series I was working. It was like this weird self-insert fantasy of me and all my friends. I hate this. I hate to admit this part of my life, but I'm admitting it because I need to admit it because it was a terrible part of my life, and it was like this weird thing. It was like really edgy, and it was gonna be like gory, and like there were gonna be boobs and nudity and weird shit like that, and like looking back on it, and I was like, I want to slap the shit out of 8th grade me for coming up with that. It was such a terrible thing. No. And like I'm not gonna name drop anything, but like one of the girls who had an insert character for found out about it, and like she saw this like little sketch I made of her character, And she was like, is this me? Is this me?" And like eighth grade me was like, "Go away. It's not." And like I feel so bad for that. I feel so bad for that.
Yeah.
I was such a terrible little kid. I I if I would have I would have given little me that for the belt for that. I would have slapped the shit. Like, come on. It's terrible though because like if like really thinking back to it, like there's like parts of that kind of like parts of like all of like the comics I try to write in like eighth grade. So like eighth grade to like early sophomore year, I like really tried being a comic writer, like ridiculously tried because I was like, oh, this is gonna be my career when I'm older, and stuff like shit like that. Um and like so like because like when I look at like my current writing and I look back on that stuff, like it's so weird to think about how much that kind of carried over into my current work in progress. Um, because like so like it started out with normal, but then that's what the comic was. That was what the original comic was called. It's called Normal, and it was gonna be this like big long thing, and it's like, oh, it's gonna show all these characters gonna growing up year by year. But then I was kind of like, I don't really want to do this. So then before that, I was gonna write. So then I came up with a comic called Invincible. Now I laugh at that because
Yeah.
back then I didn't know, and like lo and behold, like years later, there's now this really successful comic called Invincible. And like I remember even like looking it up back then too. I was like, cause I felt like the name Invincible was taken, so I looked it up, and lo and behold, there was like the Invincible comic that was still being written at the time, I think. Um, and I was like, oh, I can't call it Invincible anymore. I got to call it something else. Then I think I called it something like Powerful, which is like really lame. Looking back, I
Yeah.
um
Should have done like formidable or
or
well that
Formidable.
comes
Ah, I should
already.
have thought of that. Ah, eighth grade me, you're a dumbass. You are a dumbass. Eighth grade me is a dumbass. Um,
Could have
but
or
yeah,
like reinforced. I don't know.
yeah,
Their
some
eighth grade you should have looked at a thesaurus.
should have. But like the thing about that all those things was that kind of like I don't think it started out like that. Um because at the time I was really into comic books, at the time I was really into like Marvel and DC stuff, and I watched all the DC CW shows like The Flash and shit, and those were kind of like really inspiring for me. And like the My Hero anime, the first season came around that time too, so like all those things were kind of like like really inspiring for me at the time. Um, so like it was all kind of like based around those things. But then like because like I carried all these things on until like my sophomore year of high school. Um, and so like my freshman year, that was like when like JoJo was getting really big, and like that was when like JoJo was kind of exploding into popularity a little bit more. And so like
Would that
I
have been when part three came out?
no, that was
Or
when
part
around part four came out, like part four ish, or like around that time. And so yeah, so this was like 2016, 2017. And um like I kind of carried the idea of like not only like the stands themselves, but I carried over like music references into into like those comics because I so somewhere along the line I was like, oh no, I don't want to really write Powerful first or Invincible or whatever the fuck I called it. Um so I was like, oh, I don't want to do that first. So then I thought of two more comics that would come before that. So like my big grand idea was to have, because like I was really into the MCU at the time, like everyone was. It was that phase of my life. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna have this like huge expansive universe, and like everything ties in together. And so like the first thing that came that was gonna be a comic called LA Mirage. And it would take place in the 2020s, and it was about this detective, this police detective. I would never write this nowadays. I would never write this nowadays. Just saying. I was a very different person back then. But yeah, it was about this police detective named Jordan Presley. And his name was a reference to fucking Elvis Presley because I was a stupid kid. And I was like, oh, classic rock music reference. um, Actually, I think I still have the chapter list, or like the chapter list for that comic. I think I posted it to my spam. Hold up. Let me see. Let me see. It was a really long. It was like back in winter, because like I went digging through like some of my drawers, and I found like a bunch of like old ass papers, like a bunch of like really old drawings, most of which I am not proud of nowadays. Let's see. It's around here. Um, I find it. Yeah, I cleaned out my drawers and I found out the chat, but yeah, there was like a bunch of like really shitty music references, things that I would not. Found it. Oh boy, oh, it's so I feel. God. Okay, here I'll send it. I God, I feel so embarrassed by it. It's not even funny. Okay, there. It's in the media chat. So there is a chapter list for LA Mirage. Um, yeah,
Axl
it's
Rose
Axl Roses
is
actually, which is the dude from Guns N' Roses. See, I would never do this
yeah.
nowadays because I fucking hate Guns N' Roses. I think Guns N' Roses is a shitty band, so like I would never make that reference
Also,
nowadays.
Axl Rose is an awful person.
Yeah, but I didn't know that because like eighth grade me were like what 14-year-old me was like, oh my god, it's classic rock. Let's see. So yeah, so
Is
that
Notorious Duo supposed to be like Notorious B.I.G. or something?
something like,
Or
okay, so let's go chapter by chapter.
okay, okay.
So Adam Hart Mothered was his ability, was the main character's ability. Um Nowadays I don't think I would have called it Adam Hart Mother. I think I would have called it like Lateralus, which is like a reference to like the Tool song. I think I could have made a cooler ability based around that. But yeah, so Adam Hart Mother was kind of his main ability. I forgot what exactly it did, but it was like supposed to be, I think it was like really overpowered or something. Because I was like, oh my gosh, overpowered main character is like so cool, but I'm not like Kirito from Sword Art Online. I will next to make a good character, something like that. So yeah, so Axl Roses was a reference to Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses, and I think his ability was called like "Get in the Ring," which is a reference to a song by Guns N' Roses, a really shitty song by Guns, whatever. And then okay, so then 20 Bonnie and Clyde, not a reference to Bonnie and Clyde, but a reference to a song by Eminem. And if I remember correctly, that whole story arc was just about some dude who like killed his wife and like ran away with his daughter, because that's what the song by Eminem is about, because it's Eminem, he fucking hated his wife and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, the dude's ability was called Slim Shady, which I as I would never do nowadays. I would not. And like back then I thought I was so serious about this back then too. I was like, oh, I'm gonna
Slim
get this like,
Shady is almost that seems borderline plagiarizing.
well, no, because
Like it
I
seems
because I was reading JoJo at the time, and I was like, oh, if JoJo can
uh-huh.
do it, so can I. But like I was like so serious about this too. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this like published and shit. I'm gonna find like a good artist to like draw it, and it's gonna get like published and shit. I would never want this published nowadays. I never even want to touch this. But yeah, let's see, the Terror of Hot Pants. Oh,
Wait,
Hot Pants.
wait, was this before JoJo Part 7?
No, but it's a reference to the same thing. Hot Pants is a song by James
That's
Brown.
funny.
I forgot. I don't even know what that ability did. I think it was just supposed to be a gag or something. That's really shit. Okay. House of Memories was what is House of Memories? Oh my fucking god, I know what House. Okay. House of Memories was is a song by Panic at the Disco. And I That's so stupid. Oh my god. So if I remember correctly, um so House of Memories, I think this was like the arc where like the main villain was gonna get introduced. So it's like the House of Memories ability, if I remember correctly, it like physically manifested memories. And it was like the ability user, I don't even know if I like actually thought of like a character for it, but I know the ability user was just gonna be like some chick who had like a deformed face or something. It was kind of dumb. But okay, so Stacy Fountains is you're gonna get a kick out of this. So Stacy Fountains was Jordan Presley's girlfriend, and she was the original user of the ability Adam Hart Mother or something like that. But like Jordan Presley was originally like a researcher, and so like there was like this whole team of researchers, and they were researching this like other dimension. Okay, so yeah, here's the other thing about LA Mirage is that there were also like supernatural elements of the series, and there was like another dimension or like another whatever, and there were like spiritual monsters like running around and shit, and like there were like portals opening up, and like there were like monsters and shit running around LA, and, like dumb stuff like that. So Stacy Fountains, her name is a reference to the song "Stacy's Mom" by Fountains of Wayne. So
Oh, that's.
and it's
I mean,
like
that's honestly like that's honestly a good reference, I would say.
but it's a really and like because it actually kind of is because it
Like,
also ties into like Adam Hart mother, Stacy's mom. So like the
uh huh,
yeah. Yeah, I'll
yeah.
give younger me a little bit. We'll give younger me a little bit of a pat on the back for that one. That one's kind of good, but still stupid, really dumb. Um. So yeah, so that was kind of that. I'll be gone. If I remember correctly, uh, so yeah, I think the ability user, I think the ability in this part used by the villain was going to be like. So I think my concepts was like. So you know the song "Take on Me," of course you do.
Uh huh, yeah.
So yeah, so the ability was called "Take on Me," so have you ever seen the music video for that song?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So so the ability was like literally that was literally the music video where like Jordan gets like sucked into like this like sketchbook and by the ability user, and he kind of has to fight his way out of the sketchbook, but like kind of like that. It's actually a really cool concept. So I'll give younger me myself a
Yeah.
pat on the back for that one too. That was that. The Notorious Duo. Um, let's see.
I feel like that has to be some.
It was Big. It was a Big reference. Part
Okay.
of it was.
And then would it like a duo? Would it be like a different like rap duo
Not
reference?
necessarily. So okay, yeah, it's coming back to me. So so the Notorious Duo. So this was like yeah. So this was like the final arc before this was the second to last arc. So basically, if I remember correctly, what's the Big album? What's the first Big album with the baby on the cover? It's what is it Live to Die or is it Born to
Oh,
Die? It's Born to Die, I think. Or let me look it up. Because it was the ability. One of the abilities was a reference because there were two abilities in this part. One of them was a reference to that album. It's albums. Ready to Die. Ready to Die. That's okay. So yeah, so the ability was called Ready to Die,
Yeah.
and so that was the first ability. But there was another ability because it was a duo. The other ability was called Barbie Girl.
Okay. Like
Yeah, and so like what? So like the whole gimmick was
the
that
Barbie
like
girl song, or
yeah, the Barbie Girl song. I'm a Barbie girl. That song. I know. Um. So so the whole thing was that like so Barbie Girl, what that ability did, it kind of like made these like really demented and terrifying like little baby dolls. And I don't think I'm really screaming at my younger self for this, 'cause I don't know if he ever thought it out. If he ever fully thought it out. So yeah, so like Barbie Girl was going to be like this like it could create these like little demented baby doll things, and then Ready to Die would just strap on these like bonds, like these explosives to them, and like that was like the duo thing. And I don't even know what that was gonna be fully.
so
Some
you
stupid shit.
so younger you thought of explosive baby dolls.
Yeah, so explosive baby. I don't know why I couldn't just wrap that into one ability. I don't know why it had to be a duo ability. Um, Probably just because I saw like those couple of parts in like little snippets of those parts in part five where they're fighting like two stand users at once.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
And then wait, was this also a reference to the actual stand that was named after Biggie
no, no,
Smalls?
no, 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 none of this, none of this was actually actively a reference to JoJo. Just the fact that it's music references was.
But there's actually a stand
I know, I
in
know,
part
I
five.
know, I
Yeah.
know, I know. Younger me knew that too. But yeah, and like Adam Hart Mother is also a thing in JoJo too. Um, so
Oh,
then we get to the
wait,
final arc.
when
Go
wait,
ahead.
when is Adam Hart Mother in
Ad,
JoJo's?
Adam Hart Mother is Kira's dad. It's his thing.
Oh, yes, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the weird photograph thing. I don't think he actually it's explicitly stated, but that's what that is. Mm. Good album by the way. Good Pink Floyd
Mhm.
album. One of their lesser known, more experimental things. Anyways, so the final arc was against the main villain, and the main villain's name was Ronnie James, which, if you don't
Who
know,
had the had the
is
power of Black Sabbath?
who had the power of Black Sabbath, because Ronnie James is a reference to Ronnie James Dio, the dude Dio, not the JoJo character,
Uh huh.
the singer who's
Yeah, the
one of
actual. Yeah.
he's one of my favorite singers, by the way. Mm. He was a god. He's sadly he passed away. Mm. But yeah, so Ronnie James was a reference to Ronnie James Dio, who in like the early '80s was the lead singer of Black Sabbath. So that's where that whole thing came from.
Hmm.
And if I remember correctly, I think like Black Sabbath was going to be like this like creepy puppet ability, and I think it could like teleport in like portals and shit, or I don't know, something
Wait,
stupid.
and Black Sabbath is also a part five stand, right?
But yeah,
It's
Black
the
Sabbath is
main
also a part five
honor.
stand. I knew. I trust me. I
Also
knew.
main honor.
Yeah, it's is it?
Well, no, technically, it's the one that like travels through shadow, right?
Yeah, it's the one that travels through shadow. That's like it's like the second arc.
I think that's well,
Yeah,
I think it's
it's
technically the first art. That's how Giorno
technically
became a part of the mafia.
yeah. That's how Jordan becomes a part of the mafia. But technically, he fights Bucciarati and Sticky Fingers first.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, technically. Or
And I guess you
is
technically
that
see like
first?
Kokichi's stand before that.
Yeah, technically. I don't know. The part five didn't. But yeah, that was LA Mirage. That was LA Mirage, and that was which is a really cool name for a series. So I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a pat on the back for that one. Like
And I think the Stacy's mom, Stacy Fountains, I think that was I mean, funny reference, but
It's funny,
I
but
think
it's
it's
really
pretty clever.
yeah. I guess yeah, that was really stupid. But so then after that, I was gonna write something called after LA Mirage came this thing called a what. I never actually got to fully pen this stuff either. It was all in my head and it was all kind of just writing down and it was a lot of because like my editor he used to come over to my house and we would just like talk it out and we would just like work on like weird or shit. Um, he was also kind of like I'm not no I really shouldn't say that stuff but I I wish he would have said no to this back then. I wish he would have said no to me back then. I wish he would have given me the same amount, like the same level of criticism he does for me now back then. Um, yeah, it's so bad. So after
Maybe he thought that it was also cool.
okay, but yeah, but he was kind of going through an edgy phase too at the time, so we don't really talk about
Yeah.
it. We don't really talk about that. Those different times, dark times, dark history. Um, so then after that, there was going to be this thing called like Illustria, uh, which I hate because it sounds like My Little Pony shit now, but I thought it was cool back then. And I think like the whole thing behind that series was like it was kind of like so. Have you ever heard of the anime called Drifters? It's by the same dude who made Hellsing. It's a little bit of a
No, I
lesson.
haven't.
Yeah, okay. Underrated show in my underrated series in my opinion. So yeah, so it was kind of so like the whole thing behind Drifters was that it was kind of like random like people from history taken and they were all like thrown into this like land like this like fantasy land to like do battle against each other for these like two
So it's
omnipotent
like
beings.
Fate, the
Yeah,
Fate
kind of like
series.
fate, kind of like fate, I guess. But I didn't really know about fate at the time, so it was more fate. It's a yeah, so it was more so like basically what Illustria was kind of like about these like teenagers, I guess, who like died young, and so they would get sent to this place called Illustria, and Illustria was kind of this, and they became called the Illustrated, and they kind of got their own like set of powers. This was all in the same universe as Afterlife, not Afterlife. This was all in the same universe as LA Mirage and Powerful and Normal and all that shit. And so like, but like the whole goal of like Illustria was that they were like trying to fight off like the like demons and like manifestations of like Satan and shit. So like they were gonna like first they were gonna like fight like I can't even remember, but like they were gonna then like it's like the first arc was gonna they're gonna fight like one like demon through like Satan, but not. Then like the second arc, they were gonna go to this place called the Isle of Flightless Birds, which is a reference to a song by 21 Pilots, which I will kill. I'm gonna kill the younger me for that if I ever get to travel back in time. And they were gonna fight the Mephisto. Um, and then third arc, they were gonna fight Lucy, who's like a female version of Lucifer, something like that. And she had this like her weapon was called like the Iron Maiden, which is a reference to the band Iron Maiden. At the time, I didn't know that Iron Maidens were an actual thing in medieval times, but
Oh,
so it was a reference to the band. I feel really stupid.
when was the weapon like?
It was like a clarinet or something because like a lot of it was kind of based in music,
Yeah,
and like the
that
main
but that
yeah
would have been a cool. That would have been a cool ability, like an actual Iron Maiden.
yeah
Uh,
and like the main character's ability was called American Idiot, which is Green Day.
mm, mm.
I cringe at now. And it was like this grenade thing. That was his like ability. It was like a grenade because the album cover of American Idiot is
Yeah.
a grenade.
Well, it's like a grenade heart,
I think like the one
right?
coolest yeah it's a heart shaped like hand grenade. That's what it's called. But I think like the one really cool thing from Illustria that I think was that like like the main character kind of goes on this like solo journey to like get the sword, but like the sword is also like a guitar, so it's like a guitar sword. And if I remember correctly, the sword was called High Voltage, I think, which is a song by AC/DC. I would never make that reference nowadays. And then like the final arc is then like they're traveling to like the city of hell, and they're traveling on the highway to hell. And I was like, I thought that was like the coolest shit back then. I was like, oh yeah, AC/DC is such a badass band. It's like, um, so yeah, and they were gonna fight like the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Um, because there was a Metallica song called Four Horsemen, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. It's so cool for thinking of all these things. And then they were gonna fight. And at the end of the story, they fight Satan, but like, Satan has this like giant ass battle axe guitar, which was, and like my concept for Satan was this is like big muscly dude in like leather jeans, and he had like long flowing black hair and like shades, which is like which is still something I would design now. Which is still something I would design
That sounds
nowadays.
cool.
Yeah, that like he had like the horns, and he had like a ton of like succubuses with him. And he had and like but like he had like a different like a second form. He would turn into this like he was gonna turn into this like giant dragon. And like my concept was like, oh, all this stuff is gonna be turned into an animated cartoon one of these days. And so like for like the final fight between like the main character and Satan, I was like, oh yeah, Through the Fire and Flames is gonna play in the background because that's so cool. But yeah, it was stupid shit like that. And then I think for powerful or whatever I was gonna call it, I think the main character, I remember the main character's name. It was like Ike Tyler or something. I think his ability was also a Green Day song. I think it was like 21st Century Breakdown or something. I was really fucking into Green Day back then. I was like super into Green Day back then because one of my really close theater friends who like really like inspired me to do a lot of the shit that I do nowadays. He was really into Green Day at the time, so he got me really into Green Day at the time. But yeah, that's my second 40-minute ramble about all the shit that I did when I was a little kid. I don't even know how we got here. I don't even know how we got here.
I we probably mentioned like afterlife and
Oh yeah,
afterlife.
yeah. Because we're talking about writing, and I was talking about all the
Yeah,
cringy shit that I did as a kid. Oh yeah, because we were talking about Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and then we were like, oh wow, middle
that's
school.
right.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, I have nothing to be ashamed of. Oh wait, I do have something to be ashamed of.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you knew me during eighth grade, no, you didn't. You didn't know me back then. You didn't. Anyways, I think that's
Yeah.
it's a pretty good
Yeah, I need to
episode.
go soon. So
Yeah. I'm Chase,
I'm Drake.
and this has been